Hello my friends and welcome to episode 10 of the JP Gaming Podcast. So today we've got some Bethesda Microsoft news, we've got some Square Enix news, we've got a new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game, we've got what I've been playing and much more. But first of all we're going to do what we usually do and we're going to have a little game to open up with. So today's game is going to be Crash Bandicoot. So Crash Bandicoot, the original, was developed by Naughty Dog and published by Sony. It was released in November of 1996 on the PS1, and in it you play as Crash and you battle to stop Neo Cortex's plans for world domination and rescue Crash's girlfriend Tawana. So I loved Crash Bandicoot as a kid, and it was great to see that they'd done the Insane Trilogy remastered for the new consoles. It was fun, really fun going back and playing through those again. Obviously the game was really challenging as well, really hard back in the day, still quite difficult now, but yeah, loads of fun, pretty iconic character, become PlayStation's mascot for the PS1. Obviously he was part of their marketing campaign in their battle against Nintendo and Sega for the console wars of that generation. But yeah, so I love Crash Bandicoot, so I thought I'd throw that in as my little opening game. Obviously I'm sure everybody's aware of what Crash Bandicoot is, but it's a platforming game. So yeah, great fun, love it, and I thought I'd throw that in. So before we jump into the news, as always, you can contact me on contactjpgaming@gmail.com, as well as also leaving a comment on the discussions part of our YouTube page, or indeed on any comment section of any of our videos. Get in touch, leave any feedback, leave any questions, leave any requests. Like to get involved with the community, I'm always here to answer, and I'll do my best. Might even throw a question in on the podcast next week. I'll do my best to answer everything and accommodate everyone. So once again, that's contactjpgaming@gmail.com. So we're going to jump straight into the news. I'm recording this quite late on a Saturday, so it may not be up on Saturday night. It might come on Sunday this week, but I'm recording it late on a Saturday. I wanted to get the podcast done, but I've been a little bit busy, so that's why we're running a little bit behind schedule. So I'm gonna jump into the news. We're gonna do our usual. We're gonna do the news. We're gonna do a little retro news bite. We're gonna do what I've been playing, and then we'll wrap it up. So we're probably looking at about 20 to 30 minutes again, like we normally are. So let's just jump straight in and not delay it anymore. So for the first bit of news, we're going to start again with just a little bit of Nintendo news, because once again, as you all know, I'm a bit of a Nintendo fan. So I'm always on the lookout for the Nintendo news. So it's nice to start with that. So according to the latest MPD numbers, which as we know is the American rating system, so the total lifetime dollar sales of the Switch hardware, they've surpassed the DS in the United States, which now means that the system is Nintendo's second best-selling platform in the US in history, and only the Wii ranks higher. It's just absolutely crazy how well the Nintendo Switch has done and is continuing to do. It looks like it might beat the Wii, who knows? I mean, that's still quite a way off. But the fact that it's now outsold the DS in the United States is crazy. I mean, obviously, I'm sure it's got a long way to go before it beats the DS total across all regions. But obviously, it bodes well that it's doing that well in America. It's a fantastic console, and I'm glad that it's still selling really well. And that's why, we've had all the rumours of the Switch Pro coming lately. Rumours that it's going to be 4K with an updated screen, etc. I don't really see any reason why they need to do it. As much as I want it, I want a new Switch. I want a 4K Switch, of course I do. But I just don't see why Nintendo have to do it. The Switch is selling so well that there's no real need at the minute, really. But I'm guessing that obviously it will be backwards compatible with all the original Nintendo Switch games. So maybe, there's no reason why the original Switch still won't continue to sell well, and the 4K one maybe be at a bit of a higher price point, and it will just accommodate to more of the hardcore Nintendo fans who want to play the next Mario and the next Zelda in 4K. So we will see, but that's really great numbers for the Switch, and it bodes well for how well they're doing, considering we've got the next gen consoles out. Keeping with a little bit of the theme from the opening there, the Crash Bandicoot 4, the upgrade to the next gen system, so the PS5 and the Xbox Series upgrades were launched this week, and also was the Switch version. So over here in Europe, I can't seem to find a physical version for the Switch. It is on the eShop, it is available to download, but I can't seem to find a physical version. Game have it for pre-order, but it just says date TBC. and I can't seem to see it anywhere else. I've looked around, and it seems to point that there was, the intention was to release a physical version, but whether that's been scrapped or not, I'm not sure. I know Crash 4, apparently it weren't quite doing the numbers that Activision were expecting, so maybe they've pulled the switch, so just excuse the pun, but maybe they've pulled the switch on the Nintendo Switch version for the time being, and maybe that will come later if it sells well, who knows. But I know the Insane trilogy done pretty well on the Switch, so hopefully Crash 4 does well on the Switch. I'm a big fan of Crash 4. I jumped into the upgrade. I got my free upgrade as I owned the original. I just owned the PS4 version of Crash Bandicoot 4. So that was a free upgrade. You was eligible for a free upgrade. I've jumped into that a little bit. It does look nice. It's obviously at 60 frames. Not really had a chance to try the adaptive triggers out yet, because I've just sort of played the Crash level. I know they work a bit more when you're with Neo, Quartets, etc. But yeah, looking forward to just doing a few levels and maybe tidying up a few of them collectibles and playing it in the new nice next gen graphics. So for our next bit of news, we've got No More Heroes 1 and 2, which anyone who knows me knows that I'm a big fan of Suda51 and the No More Hero games. Looking forward to No More Heroes 3, can't wait for that. Going to go back and complete No More Heroes 2 before that comes out. I've recently done No More Heroes 1, so looking to get right up to date. But yeah, we got confirmation that No More Heroes 1 and 2 are getting a physical release from Limited Run Games, and that'll obviously be on the Nintendo Switch. They're digital only at the minute, but they'll be coming out for a physical release. It looks like there's going to be a limited edition soundtrack with it, etc. You can get just your standard cartridge, or you can get the limited edition one as well from Limited Run. So they're always good. If you want that on physical, you can go and pick that up. So for the next bit of news, this is quite exciting for me. We got a new trailer for a new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles games, and that is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge, and that will be coming out on PC and console with a release date TBC. They didn't say a release date, but we do know that it's developed by members of the Scott Pilgrim versus the World game. And that was obviously a great little side-scrolling beat-em-up, retro-style beat-em-up. Loads of fun with that game. I really enjoyed it, actually, and I want to go through and do it with a couple more of the characters. I've done it with Scott at the minute, but I want to go through and max level all the other characters as well. I had great fun with Scott Pilgrim. Bought that on the Switch because I just felt it lent itself better to the Switch, because I might want to play that in handheld. So that was great, and this Turtles game looks amazing. It looks like it's an old arcade style brawler beat 'em up. I spent so much money in the arcades as a kid on the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles arcade game. I absolutely loved that game. I was a big fan of the NES game as well. I liked the beat 'em up game that was on the Switch. Can't remember what that was called. I think it was Tournament Fighters or something like that. That was really fun. And this game, it looks like a throwback to the old arcade game. It looks like the arcade game. It looks like a bit of a sequel to that. I'm not sure if it is, but it's in the same style. It's got that retro style. It's got the 4-player multiplayer beat 'em up action, and it just looks so much fun. And I can't wait till we see some more footage of it and get a release date, because that will definitely be a day one pickup for me. Big fan of the original Turtles game, and if this one can live up to be as good as the arcade game was, then we're in for a bit of a treat if you're a fan of those old arcade style brawlers, because it just looks so much fun. Go check out the trailer if you're a fan of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles arcade game. Go check that out, because it just looks amazing, and I'm really excited to see that come up. So for the next bit, this is probably the biggest news of the week, probably the biggest news of the year so far, really, and that's that Microsoft's 7.5 billion acquisition of ZeniMax Media, which obviously includes Bethesda, Arcane and ID, as well as more. Well, that's finally been finalised. That got the green light to go ahead, so that's been finalised, so they're officially a part of the Microsoft team now. And Phil Spencer, he said in a pretty long interview, he said that with the addition of the Bethesda creative teams, gamers should know that Xbox consoles, PC and Game Pass will be the best place to experience new Bethesda games. They've confirmed that there will be some exclusives. They've also said that they'll let them work in the same way that they will always work, but I'm pretty sure that all the Bethesda games will now be exclusive to Microsoft. I think he confirmed that, actually, but I don't really want to say that if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that he confirmed that. So it looks like if you want to play the new Elder Scrolls, you might need to get yourself a PC, or you might need to get yourself an Xbox if you're only a PlayStation or Switch gamer, because I don't think they'll be going to them. And as well as that, we got some new titles. They added some new titles to Game Pass. as a little celebration. So they added some Bethesda and some ZeniMax games to Game Pass, and they included the original Dooms, Elder Scrolls 3 to 5, as well as Elder Scrolls Online, the Fallout games, Wolfenstein. I think we got Prey, we got Dishonored, so there was quite a few added there, and games like Elder Scrolls Skyrim, Fallout 4, Fallout 76, Dishonored Definitive Edition, Prey, they're all getting the boosted frame rate option, so you can run them at 60 frames per second. You can go into your settings and you can change them, you can turn the boost off. Why you're going to do that, I'm not sure, but you can go in and turn that off. So I recently picked up a Series S, purely because I do just want to play Game Pass games, so I didn't really feel the need to get a X too much, because I've got my PS5 that I'll probably end up buying all of the next gen games that are, the big third party games that I really want to play. I'll probably rather play them on the PS5 anyway, just because that's my console of choice and I prefer the controller. So I thought that I would go for the S. So that gives me the option to play Halo, Gears of War, Forza when they all come out, all the Bethesda games when they come out, but I could probably deal with it not being at native 4K, and I can just run them for what they are, because I do prefer the Sony exclusives. So it'd be nice to play Halo, it'd be nice to play Gears of War. So for the money, it was just a bit of a no-brainer. So I've gone in, I've looked at them, I've downloaded Doom Eternal, I know that was already on Game Pass anyway, and I've downloaded Elder Scrolls Morrowind, just because I used to love that game. I played that on PC originally, and I loved that game, so I thought it'd be fun to download that. So obviously it's an original Xbox game. Looks like it's got the boosted, I think it's got the boosted frame rate option. It has a HDR option. I'm not sure if it has the boosted frame rate. I've not actually loaded it yet, but it's there, it's downloaded, and I just want to give that a go. That is one thing about the Series S and the Series X that I do think is cool, and that's the backwards compatibility of it. It goes all the way back to the original Xbox, and I know if you have a Series X and you still own your Xbox games, you can just pop them discs in and they'll play. And I do think that is very good. As much as I am a bit of a Sony and a Nintendo fan, and Microsoft kind of comes last for me there, I've got to give them credit where credit's due, and it would be great if Sony could do that or Nintendo could do that. I mean, I know Nintendo, obviously they go back a bit further, and it'd be quite hard to pop a NES cartridge in your Switch, but for Sony especially, it would be great if you could go back and put a PS2 or a PS1 game in your PS5 and play that maybe with a boosted frame rate and some smoothing to make it look nice on a new TV and modern TVs. It would be amazing. I know obviously it's a bit harder. I know some of the architecture is different on the consoles, and it's quite hard to emulate some of it or to get the original hardware in and get it running like that. But it would be amazing if they could do that, and hopefully that's where we'll get to at some point with Sony. But who knows? So yeah, really exciting stuff for Xbox fans. Really it's pretty exciting stuff for gamers in general, really, because it's a pretty big acquisition. And now Microsoft finally have, they've got some big first party games now. They've got some big mascots. So yeah, it looks like they may be able to challenge Sony with the games. We will see. We'll see what Bethesda come out with. Obviously, they've got a lot to prove after Fallout 76. So we will see. We will see what happens there. And for our final bit of news, we've just got that Square Enix, they've announced that they're going to be doing a Nintendo Direct style presentation, and it's called Square Enix Presents, and that will be on March 18th, and you can watch that on YouTube, obviously. So March 18th, just looking at my calendar here, will be Thursday. So on Thursday you can watch that presentation, and they've got a little list of what's the outline of the show is, so I'll just read through that now. So that's a reveal of the next Life is Strange game, so a new game in the series of Life is Strange, Outriders, Balan Wonderland, the ongoing celebration for the 25th anniversary of Tomb Raider, Marvel Avengers, Just Cause Mobile, a new mobile game announcement from the award-winning Square Enix Montreal studio, and a look at a few other whimsical games from Square Enix sister company Taito. So first things that I'm noticing from here are, one, I need to go back and play the Life is Strange. They're on Xbox Game Pass, I believe. Never played them, but I've heard really good things about them. So that is one thing I'm actually going to do after I finish recording this. I'm going to kick them off to download. The 25th anniversary of Tomb Raider. Well, that makes me feel quite old, because I was around when Lara Croft first ventured onto our screen. So That was quite a long time ago now. Makes me feel old. And I didn't actually know that Square Enix, their sister company is Taito. I didn't know that, so that's interesting. Little bit disappointed that it doesn't mention Final Fantasy here. I was looking forward to some new footage of the of either Final Fantasy VII remake, the add-on, the Yuffie add-on, or the next Final Fantasy game. I was looking for some more, maybe like a confirmed release date or a bit more footage of that, because that looks very good and I'm looking forward to playing that on my PS5. So a bit disappointing, but hopefully there'll be a little surprise in there. I mean, obviously Final Fantasy is probably one of their biggest games, if not their biggest game, so it'd be nice if we can get something on that. But we will see. We will see. So I think that's it. That is it for the news today. We're at 15 minutes, so we're probably looking. Yeah, we're probably going to be about 20-25. We have got a retro news bite, but it's been pretty short on the retro news recently. So I was looking around trying to find something to throw in, just because I like doing that, because I'm a pretty big retro gaming fan. Anyone who knows me knows that, and I do like to just throw a little bit in. So I did find out one bit that I found that I thought was quite interesting, and that's that we've got a new NES game coming out, and it looks pretty cool. It's called Trophy, and it's an action platformer, and it's programmed by Gradual Games, and that's took 3 years to make, and that is via the 6502 Collective. So I'm not really familiar with either of these or any of those work, but it looked, from the screenshots I've seen, it looks pretty cool. It's a little action platformer NES game. Not quite sure how you pick that up. I'm assuming maybe it's a ROM that you buy and you download and you play through an emulator. I'm not sure if there's a physical, but I may be wrong there, but that's something worth looking at. I literally only got that information just before I started recording, so I didn't really get a chance to look into it much more, but I probably will do after I've been recording this and edited and got it all uploaded, etc. So that is it for the news today. We're going to jump into what I've been playing. There hasn't actually been that much this week, just because I was a little bit busier this week than normal, actually. So my plan was to get involved in some gaming today, actually, because my plan was to have a pretty free and quiet Saturday morning, or indeed the whole Saturday day, before I record this. Get some gaming in, play some Bravely Default, play some Xbox, try out some of them Game Pass games, but that didn't really happen. Ended up being a pretty busy morning and a pretty busy afternoon. So yeah, haven't really had a chance. Been really busy during the week, so I haven't really had a chance to play much, really, which has been a bit of a shame. But there are some games. I have played some games, so there is some stuff to report on. So the first thing, obviously, I mentioned I got the Xbox Series S. Still can't get my head around that naming convention. It's still a massive mouthful. I don't know why they named it like that. But yeah, so I got the Series S and I downloaded a bunch of games. So I've dipped in and out of a couple. I played a bit of Haven because I was interested in that. I watched the trailer for that on the eShop, actually, on the Switch. So when I see that was on Game Pass, I thought, oh, I'll download that, have a look at that. Looks like a pretty chilled RPG-like. Pretty light, actually. I'd say probably pretty RPG-like with the combat there, but it's not very challenging. The game even tells you it's not very challenging at the start. It looks like a decent story. You're a couple in love on an abandoned island. Your ship has crashed and some weird things start happening and you now don't know if you're alone. That's about as far as I got into it. I'll probably stick with it. I've had a look online. It doesn't seem like it's a particularly long game, so it's something that I will dip in and out of and try and complete over the next couple of weeks. That seems pretty cool. I downloaded new Super Lucky's Tale, and the reason why I got that is my girlfriend picked that up on the Nintendo Switch recently, and I watched her play a little bit of it, and it looked like quite good fun. And I realised it was on Game Pass, so I downloaded that, and now I'm playing through that. I'm on World 3 at the minute. That's pretty cool. It's a 3D platformer. It feels very Mario-like, very, very Mario-like, with some of the boss fights, some of just the platforming sections in the levels, the way the world map's set up. It does remind me a lot of Mario, which isn't a bad thing. And I've got to say, it's quite charming. I'm really enjoying the game, and I'm definitely going to be finishing that. So it's one that you can just sort of jump into every now and again and play a bit. So loving some new Super Lucky's Tale. Sure I'll have a bit more to report on that next week. I've been playing some more Spider-Man Remastered. I've got my video out on YouTube as well, so that's up if you want to check that out and see what I think of the game, or just see some footage of the game running on a PS5. You can check that out on my YouTube page. Unfortunately, I have just recorded it in HD. It isn't 4K. That's just because I wanted to keep the file size down, and also recording directly off of the PS4, I wanted to put it, recording directly off of the PS5, I wanted to put it into my video editing software, and it doesn't support the format, unfortunately. So I need to find myself a new video editing software. So I had to knock it down to the HD version, the MP4, and it supports that. So that's what we got. But I'm loving Spider-Man Remastered. I'm on chapter 3. I've only just started chapter 3, so I'm almost near the end. I'm going through and I'm tidying up a lot of I've just done all the Fisk hideouts. I've done the demon warehouses as well. And I'm going through the prisoner camps now, and I'm going to move on to the Sable Outpost nets. I've got all the backpacks. I'm doing some of the research stations. So I'm going through, trying to tidy up those collectibles, do the side missions, and then I'll probably leave a few, go finish the game, and then finish the rest of it after. But I want to 100% it again. And then maybe I'll jump into some of the DLC, because I didn't do that originally. As I mentioned last week, I think I did, on the podcast, mentioned I didn't do the DLC originally. So I'll probably jump in, do some of that, maybe do the Black Cat one. Not sure if I'll do it all, but we'll see. But yeah, just having loads of fun with Spider-Man. Feels very fluid at 60 frames per second. It just feels so fluid, so smooth. It looks amazing. Obviously, I've played through Spider-Man already, 100%ed it. I've done Miles Morales twice, so I'm pretty used to the combat. So I'm absolutely killing it in a minute, and you just feel so badass, just Spider-Man just beating up all the bad guys, hardly taking any hits, using all your gadgets. Now I know fully how to use the game. It's just, you're just flying through it, and it feels really cool. It feels really fun, and I'm having loads and loads of fun with that. So just really been enjoying that. And then finally, obviously, the other game I've been putting some time into is Bravely Default 2, carrying on from last week. I'm sure that will be a constant theme throughout the coming months, because it is a very, very long game. I'm only getting a chance to sort of do an hour or so here or there, which does frustrate me a little bit, because it's a really good, I'm really loving that game, and it's a big, nice, chunky JRPG, and you kind of, sometimes you really need to sit there for more than an hour, really, and just really get involved, do a bit of grinding, or work your way through the next dungeon and the next boss. But still having loads of fun with that. I've unlocked a few more jobs, done a couple more bosses, got to a new area, leveled up my characters a little bit more, getting a bit more familiar with the battle system, and how much I sort of need to grind as you work your way through the dungeons, because it's the general structure of the game is kind of go to an area, unlock your mission, if you like, or your next objective, which generally means you go into some sort of dungeon or some sort of area, which I'm calling a dungeon, work your way through that, couple of save points, couple of levels through there, to the dungeon, then you get a boss, you fight that, you move your way, you go back to the town, tidy up that bit of the story, take on the next bit, and you do it all again. So at first I was just sort of ploughing through. I wasn't really doing much grinding. I was ploughing through the dungeon, getting to the boss, and I started to struggle a little bit, but then I leveled a bit, I grinded a bit, and now I'm at a pretty good level, and I've realised kind of how when I get to a certain point, I know when I'm taking out the enemies fairly quickly, I've got to a point where I feel comfortable, even if they're still attacking me, which means that I'm still at the right level or just under, because they also run away from you, which means you're overpowered, and then it probably is pretty pointless fighting them. But even if they're still coming to try and attack me, I've kind of got to learn now where, okay, I'm taking them out with pretty much ease. I'm just braving all the way through, and I'm taking them out within the first turn, or maybe the second turn. I then kind of know that I'm pretty much ready for the boss. I've kind of got my job sorted, I've got my character classes sorted, I've maxed out the ones that I know work for my playstyle, and then in between there, obviously, so what I do is in the dungeon, I'll go and I level up my jobs that I've not leveled up, that I feel I might want to use. When I realise I'm getting near a boss, I generally switch back to my tried and trusted jobs, and so far that's kind of working for me. So that's like a black mage, a white mage, I've got a beastmaster as well, I've got a shield bearer. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm working with at the minute, and it's working out all right, actually. I'm getting used to it. It's been a long time since I've played a proper JRPG like that, like a proper traditional one, because they've seemed to have moved away from them a little bit. But just having loads of fun, and I could probably sit and talk about Bravely Default all day, and take this podcast way over our usual sort of schedule. So, but yeah, I think that will be it. Obviously, I'll be reporting some more on Bravely Default 2 next week. Hopefully, you would have completed Spider-Man by then. If not, I should hopefully be near the end if I get a bit of time during the week. I'm hoping to try and grab a bit more time over the coming weeks, so we'll see. And obviously, some more Super Luckies I'll be reporting on, as well as all the latest news. Hopefully, the retro news bit, there'll be something interesting to talk about there as well. and I've got to start thinking about what I want for my opening game. So yeah, that'll be it for today's podcast. Once again, just want to drop that email there. So contact jpgaming@gmail.com. That's contact jpgaming@gmail.com. Leave us your feedback, leave us your questions. It don't even have to just be about video games. If there's anything you think I've mentioned that you might like, drop us a question, drop us a little mail, and I'll see what I can do in terms of answering it. So that was it. Hope you all enjoyed. Obviously, check out my YouTube. Hit that subscribe if you haven't already, please. It would mean the world to me. And check back again next week. And until then, have yourselves a lovely time. Have some fun. Play some games. And just stay safe as always. So until then, this was JP Gaming. And we are out.